All right, we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 175 of Hump Day Hangouts. Today is the 14th of March, 2018, also known as Pi Day. So I sadly don't have a Pi t-shirt.
3.14.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, it's a math joke. I get it.
Hey. To bring in a little nerdiness to the Hump Day Hangouts this week. So let's go through and say hi to everybody real quick before we do some quick announcements and then start answering your questions. So let's see if we can get a hold of Chris. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All
Good morning,
right,
guys.
Yeah, how's it going? I think you're about, what, 12 hours off from us?
No idea. Like, it's 4 a.m. here at the moment.
Well, good on you.
But always fun to be in Bali.
All right, good stuff. Hernan, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Excited to be with you next week on FHL. Excited for what's coming. So good times.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, if anyone's going to be at Funnel Hacking Live in Orlando, let us know. We'll try to meet up. You know, I know we've got a couple mastermind members going, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are some others going. So raise your hand, let us know, and me and Hernan will meet up with you. Let's see. Who is next? Marco, how's it going?
What's up, dude?
Can't complain. I'm living here in the snow. I'm sure you're nice and comfortable. How's the weather down there?
It's Groundhog Day, man. It's warm, sunny. Can't beat it, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Bradley, how about yourself?
I'm happy to be here, man. Things are good. Ready to answer some questions. So,
well, not too fast. So we've said it just recently. We were talking about, we did the pre-sale for Local PR Pro, and a couple people, or rather several people got in early at a pretty awesome price. But that's going to be launching towards the end of the month. And you've recorded the training for that. And we still had a few questions though, as far as, because we don't have a finalized page. We don't have all the details on there, but what is like the thing we should be telling people? Because I mean, I can tell people, but you're the one who actually did the training.
Okay. So like, what are the benefits? Quick rankings. It's about 90% outsourced. Virtually almost all of it is outsourced. You have to do the keyword research, but the methods that I teach, are using like the actual press release distribution services writers. So like, you don't even have to write the damn press release. All you got to do is come up with a handful of bullet points, which are just basic details for all press releases, which I typically provide, like who, what, when, where, perhaps a why or a how, and then a quote. And that's it. That's all you got to include. And you can get incredible results for maps ranking. I mean, that's primarily what the course is about. It's about ranking in the maps pack if you're doing local. It applies to stuff outside of local too, but I specifically developed that the local PR product because of what I was doing for my own lead gen business and my client SEO agency, and just getting incredible results. As I mentioned in the training, out of 15 properties that I applied this strategy to, 12 of them ranked in the 3-pack within 6 press releases, and I would publish a press release about once every 2 weeks. So that would be within 12 weeks, 80% of all properties that I applied this to, which was 12 out of 15, I was able to rank in the 3-pack in 6 press releases or less, which is insane. And several of them were actually done what I call one-hit wonders. Now, the results aren't typical, guys, but there are for less competitive areas, especially, or less competitive keywords, one or the other, or both. One single press release done right can actually push you into the maps pack. I mean, from not being in the 3-pack at all to being in the maps pack or even #1 position. And I showed a couple of examples in the webinar that we did, which is all part of the training now, where that one-hit wonder worked. And I've got several more examples that I just didn't show of that. So again, the benefit is that it's incredibly useful, it's powerful, it's effective, and it can be done quickly without a lot of work. I even tested this across various types of, web properties, right? So we tried single page landing pages. So like, in other words, the website that was attached or connected to the Google My Business listing was just a single page website, no silo structure, no blog, no IFTTT syndication network, no drive stack. And I was able to rank those in the 3-pack. Obviously, the sites that I had the more traditional structure to, like silo structure, content, we had the entity validation syndication network, right? Drive stacks, all of that, those responded even better, if that makes sense. But what I wanted to do was test just how powerful press releases alone could be. So I actually ran that across multiple properties, or applied that method across multiple properties that were literally had no business ranking at all because they had basically no content. Like the first project that I applied it to was just a landing page, a ClickFunnels landing page. It wasn't even WordPress, which means you can't manipulate the on-page SEO. It's very limited in ClickFunnels as to what you can do for SEO purposes. Yet I was able to rank a landing page with a video, an opt-in form, and 3 bullet points, literally in the 3-pack with 2 press releases. So again, that's why I say, guys, this is incredibly powerful if you're doing client work, if you're doing lead gen stuff for your own self. And it's a great source of revenue because, you know, on the low end, I charge on the low end as a foot in the door strategy with press releases. I charge $300 to do a press release for a client, and that's on the low end. And so even if you're paying $150, that's 100% markup to have somebody else do the work for you. All you got to do is sell it, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of opportunity there, guys. It's a great program for just getting really quick results. And also, I know Marco and I and Rob, the 3 of us are putting our heads together to talk about developing another course specifically for Google My Business. I'll let Marco talk a little bit more about that. But when you combine the press release strategy along with what we're going to be talking about in the GMB course, as well as the RYS stuff with drive stacks, it's basically like there's nothing that we can't crack into. No 3-pack that we can't get into. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and the thing about that is competition. Like it's like, who cares?
That's right.
I posted the image that I shared in our groups. It's an attorney that I'm working for in New York City. I wish I could show more, but I'm under a non-disclosure agreement. But if you guys go and look, those are results with just from within the Google My Business listing. No links, no nothing, no RYS. So imagine if I decide well, she has to pay more, of course, or she has to decide that she wants more. But you know, press releases to this, and then press releases to a drive stack that's hooked up to the GMB, that's hooked up to the website. There's so many things. I mean, I always tell people, think outside the box and just imagine the different scenarios where you can go in and just take over. Now, again, as you said, results aren't typical, but we're targeting another major metropolitan area for a highly competitive keyword. This is personal injury attorney, New York City, and those are the results. For the other one that we're doing, which will be disclosed when the course is released, it's 200% month to month. That's the increase in traffic that we're getting with basically, you know, what we're going to come up with the course. And of course, we'll figure out a way to hook it all together, right? So right now, you get into Local PR Pro, and you can get results like you said, 1 to 6 press releases. And that's like right now. You go, you get the course, you do what you're supposed to do. Don't cut corners. Don't start doing your own stuff until you apply it and get something that's going to work, right? Once you get it working, you can start testing and do whatever you want. But please first follow the training. Yeah. But at any rate, you follow the training, you get that going, and then you can go after even more competitive keywords. Take down the competition. They won't know what you're doing because it's really hard to track this. It's really hard to see where it's all coming from. But you know, it's all Google. It's all Google love. That's what I love about all this, is working inside Google and using Google to my advantage. And that's what we're going to be working on.
That's the new SEO, buddy.
That's it, man. Get Google what it wants, and you get rewarded.
That's right.
Good deal. Well, we wanted to touch base real quick because Bradley, I think you wrapped up the PPC module in the mastermind, right?
Well, the main push for it, yeah. I mean, it's going to continue to be updated throughout the course of the year, and we just did the local project so far. Right now, because we shifted into the prospecting module, I'm setting up some funnels and stuff for the national project. But once we're outside of that, once we got the prospecting funnels all set up and things, then I'm going to start driving AdWords traffic or PPC traffic into those funnels. So I will also be adding a bunch of additional training in the PPC module for national campaigns. Right now, all we have is the local campaign.
Cool. And coming up, like Bradley said, is the prospecting, which was really fortunate. One, a lot of people are interested. Obviously, everyone wants to get either more or better clients. And then I was just talking to a new mastermind member on their onboarding consulting call. I'm not going to say who it is, but I know he's watching. So, you know, we're talking about the shiny object syndrome, or having all this training and not taking action. And something that the mastermind we're going to start doing is we're grouping people together for little masterminds so that they can talk about what they're doing. So people who are working in similar areas and have these more in-depth discussions, because they not only get to talk to us and talk to each other as a large group, but then going in and being accountable, right? So you know that, hey, maybe, you know, if you're having a tough time taking action, but you're committing to, hey, I'm going to make this project work, and I've got to come back here in a week and tell everyone what I did.
Report back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just saying, yeah, reporting back, guys. I mean, here's the thing. How often do you make a commitment to yourself? I'm saying this to everybody in general because I do it a lot, right? How often do you make a commitment to yourself and it's easy to break because nobody else knows about it? You know what I mean? But when you make a commitment to other people, we tend to keep them more often, or at least if you have any integrity, you do. And so a lot of the times that's why I publicly announce stuff, because it forces me to follow through. And so like an accountability group will do that for a lot of people.
Definitely. So just wanted to let people know about that. You know, you can do that on your own. We wanted to implement that for a mastermind. We're going to be doing that regularly to get people hooked up, plugged in, get them even more involved in their projects and other people's projects, because that's what it's all about, is learning and growing. So anyways, don't want to take too much longer. Do you guys have anything else we need to go over, or should we hop into it?
Let's do it.
All righty.
Let's do it. Okay. Let me grab the screen. You know what? I can do the picture-in-picture thing. Let me just play with that for one moment. Just a minute, guys. Is it working yet? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I got a little delay with Hangouts today, but no, it is not. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Now it is. I made it work. Look at that. Now, I know that gives you an ice cream headache just looking at that, that stupid picture-in-picture thing. It's like Alice in Wonderland. Okay, are you guys ready? Does everything look good now, finally?
Yep.
All right, let me lock it on.
Looking good.
There we go. All right, Andy T. What's up, Andy? He says, hey, BB and team, good day. Can you recommend a good strategy to use ads to get traffic? I'm working on affiliate website, and I'm not sure if Facebook or AdWords is more suitable for me. Kindly recommend a good advertisement course if you have any. Thanks. Well, you know, I'm always going to lean towards AdWords and YouTube just because that's what I do. I don't do Facebook stuff. There's a ton of good traffic there. Hernan's a ninja at that kind of stuff. But, you know, I can just speak from, like, for affiliate stuff. Like, I've had really good success with YouTube ads because they're so cheap. You can get, like, really inexpensive views, which leads to inexpensive clicks, which can lead to inexpensive conversions if you've got decent, you know, offer or decent opt-in or something like that on your landing pages, which, you know, or your affiliates bridge pages, whatever you want to call them. So I prefer YouTube traffic for affiliate stuff like that. Also, just period, I'm getting a lot of really inexpensive traffic from YouTube right now, even for local stuff. So, you know, I highly recommend that. But I'll let Hernan mention Facebook ads because I know he does a lot of stuff with that.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, he's asking about a good advertisement course. You should definitely join the mastermind, Andy, because we went through this entire month. I mean, over the past 45 to 60 days, we went through AdWords and we went through Facebook back to back, and we will keep on doing that. Now, what you need to have in mind is that depending on the network that you're advertising on, people are in one state of mind or the other, right? Facebook could be great if you're offering something for free and you want to build an audience, right? If you're selling, I don't know, dog training product as an affiliate, then you can really create an audience really fast The same with YouTube, right? People are not actively searching for those keywords. On AdWords, it's a completely different ballgame because people are actively searching for those keywords. So it's a more intent phase. But I wouldn't choose either or. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to build an audience and if you want to build a list around any particular subject, I would go ahead with both. In my particular case, I'm having better results with Facebook, but it's probably a matter of that I don't know how well to use YouTube as Bradley's doing. So I would combine them, you know, and the most you combine them, the better, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's like me saying, yeah, I'm not very good at Facebook ads, you know, like,
right.
And that's because I just don't do them very often. So right, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. And I agree with you 100%, Hernan. One thing I can say, Andy, is that is just crushing it for me right now, guys. And this is, you know, I feel like I shouldn't even reveal this, but it's man, the in-market audiences. If you go into AdWords and when you're selecting your targeting, there's an interest drop down, not topics, not keywords, not placements, but there's an interest drop down. If you click on that, it's going to show you in-market audiences. Then there's also life events, and another one's called an affinity audiences. And the in-market audiences are absolutely crushing it. If you can find, if your affiliate project falls within, if you can find a topic in the in-market audiences that covers it, you're going to have really good success with that, because I'm crushing it even with local right now with driving traffic from in-market audiences. And it's just incredibly good. And what's crazy about it is like the view retention on the ads that I'm playing for local stuff using the in-market audiences is like 45% or greater, like the average view duration of the ads that which is huge. Like that's really big. When I was doing a lot of affiliate stuff with YouTube ads, you know, you'd be lucky to get 25% of the people to make it 30% of the way through the video, if that makes sense. And so like, it's just really, really relevant. Those in-market audiences, Google's data has become so much more refined for those in-market audiences. So really, really good. And life events is also something really good for like people getting married or graduating college or moving, things like that. You can find audiences in there for that too. So it's very, very good. Highly recommend it. The only, what I would recommend for like a one-off course for YouTube ads, hands down, the best YouTube ads course I know of is Justin Sardi's. I don't know, Adam, if somebody could drop a link for that. If it's still valid. Justin's got a really good course. I know he relaunches it often and updates it often, and he does a ton of affiliate marketing with YouTube ads, so you might want to check that out. Okay. Next, he says, I got a copy of the battle plan since November 2017 as part of the SEO Boot Camp bonus. Is the information in the copy still valid? For example, I think CrowdSearch is no longer a viable strategy, right? Yeah, everything in the battle plan is still valid. We're going to be releasing a version 2 in the next few weeks or so, several weeks, whatever. And there's obviously some stuff that we've added to it. CrowdSearch is still viable under certain circumstances, guys. I just don't recommend sending the traffic directly to your money site anymore from that, or any one of those kind of apps. If you're going to send traffic, you know, you can still use it in an effective way. But what I recommend doing is sending the traffic through like social referral links and things like that. And again, I've covered that before. That's actually was covered in one of the webinars we did about CrowdSearch. But yeah, I mean, there's still some benefit to that, but I just wouldn't send traffic directly to your money site because a lot of those IP ranges now are flagged. And so the traffic just really doesn't even count. It doesn't help much if it's counted at all. So I would definitely, yeah, the boot camp, or excuse me, the battle plan is still valid, but be on the lookout in the next few weeks when we release an updated version. All right, marketing hope. Number 1, I recently found a really strong topical relevant expired domain. I want to use it as a 301 redirect to my own target website. However, that target website is extremely new, 2 months old, and literally no link building on it so far. Will Google detect this as spammy since there are currently no links at all on this website, and now the link juice of only over 2,000 referring domains would come at once? On the other hand, if it's only one redirect, not planning to do any more redirects in the future, you could make the case that I moved the domain name of the company, so it would make sense in the eyes of Google. However, I am concerned since the expired domain really has a lot of backlinks. Okay, so what I would recommend is if you're concerned about it, and that's a valid concern, but run it through a buffer site first. You know, I like to use Amazon or HTML pages hosted on an S3 bucket. And Amazon S3 bucket is like, I love using those as buffer pages, guys, for this kind of stuff. I don't do a lot of real spammy stuff like this. I'm not saying this is real spammy, but it's a redirect, right? So we used to just go out and find domains with a ton of metrics, like a whole bunch of inbound links, a bunch of domain authority, and that kind of stuff. And we would redirect. And, you know, we did some tricks. We called it link laundering. And that was one way of doing it, was doing like double 301 redirects, all this kind of stuff that we used to do is because it was all about manipulating metrics. And, you know, several years ago, that's how you used to be able to rank, was just manipulate metrics. But that's not really the case anymore. It's more about relevancy. If you're concerned, then I would still recommend putting up a buffer page. Why I like HTML pages hosted on Amazon S3 is because there's inherent authority built into the Amazon domain, right? So you're gonna use that to help filter or clean any potential or negative effects, number one. Number two, you can create an HTML page with one outbound link. That's it. And you can also add a bunch of content to that page to inject relevancy. So my point is, yeah, it's great. You've got a relevant domain. It's topically relevant. That's great. But even if you didn't have a relevant domain, you can still point it to an HTML page that has a bunch of content on it about the specific topic that you're trying to boost, you know, that you're going to be linking to. Right. So that and if you only have one outbound link, one external link in that content, contextual link that's going to your money site, then you're basically injecting relevancy at that point. Plus you're piggybacking on the Amazon domain authority. Right. And so, again, that's what I recommend doing. You can use a buffer site. You can also use Web 2s. I just prefer using an Amazon S3 because I have more control over the entire page than I would on like a Web 2. If that makes sense. So anybody else have a comment for that? Okay.
No, yeah, I agree with you, Bradley, with what you say, because that's the standard operating procedure for what we're doing as well. So
awesome. Thank you. Number two, should you do internal linking on your PBNs? Absolutely. You should. I'm really not a fan of using trust links. I feel they don't really look authentic since you can still spot a money site either way. So I wanted to ask if it's better to do internal linking within a post of a PBN. Of course, Google would still spot the money site, but then article is now at least completely rounded up. One more advantage would be that you just don't lose link juice from some random authority website. Looking forward to your answer. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I get that. Here's the thing. You should all PBNs guys should be treated as money sites now. I mean, that's really the case. Like, so even if it's like a blog type site, what do normal blogs do? Normal blogs don't typically sculpt PageRank, right? They don't do link sculpting so much, because if you go read any of the major blogs out there, or even some of them that aren't major, you'll see that people are constantly linking out to their internal linking to supporting content within the same website or the same blog, but they're also outbound linking to supporting content to basically further reinforce their own opinion or their own ideas, the topic of that post, right? That article. And so it's just natural to do so. And so I don't worry about I don't do much PBN stuff anymore, but with PBNs, with blogs, I would still recommend doing curating, which is how we recommend doing all blog posting work, is doing curated posts, because then you don't need to be a subject matter expert. You don't have to hire writers that aren't subject matter experts that write shitty content. You can just gather or round up content from authority sources, inject your own opinion or commentary between snippets that you've curated to create an original piece of content that is citing, right? That's linking out to and attributing the authority sources that you've gathered the content from. And so my point is, with that, when you're linking, you can absolutely create silos on a PBN, create supporting articles within the silos, internally link up to the silo landing pages. The silo landing page could have the link to your money site along with other links. But then in your curated posts, which again, I highly recommend you use curated posts, if you're outbound linking to topically relevant, like stuff that is 100% relevant to that post, whether it's an authority site or not, that doesn't matter. What matters is that it's topically relevant, right? That it's helping to reinforce the content of that post. And don't worry about no following the links. And here's the 3 different types of links that you can include. That typically, what do we include, guys, when we're linking, especially from a PBN? It's a contextual link. Right? So we put a link within the content. It's typically an anchor text link, or maybe it's a naked URL, whatever, but it's typically a contextual link because that provides the most power, right? However, if you've got if you've got 3 different link types, when you curate an article, the 3 types of links that we would usually link out with is the traditional contextual link, can be anchor text or none. Also, we do the article citation, right? So when we're citing or attributing content to its original source, we link back to the original source. Typically, the title of the article will be the anchor text. It doesn't have to be, though. And then also there's usually like a read more or additional reading or recommended resources or something like that box somewhere within the content, and usually at the bottom, that typically links out to additional content sources that reinforce that particular topic. And so that's another opportunity to link to content within the same PBN or to moneysite. So my point is, you can link to your moneysite with a traditional contextual link, which is what most people do, or you can link to your moneysite or even to other content on the same PBN via curation style, right? So in other words, you're citing content from another page or post on the PBN, or you're citing content, curating content from your moneysite. And so you're creating the link back like a citation link. All right. And lastly, there's the recommended resources box, or, you know, additional reading, whatever you want to call it, at the bottom, where I usually would put, or I have my curators gather 3 to 5 links. Usually we do 5 links that link out to other content that reinforces the topic. And then we just embed or insert our link to one of our money pages or money sites, depending on what we're trying to boost, where we're trying to direct link juice, within that recommended resources box. And it's at random. Don't always put it number 1, right? If you've got 5 link spots that you're going to fill up, then put it, you know, randomize it. Put it number 1 one time, number 3 next time, number 5 the next, you know what I mean? So that just gives you multiple ways to internally link a PBN, which is absolutely important. It should be done because that's how all real, genuine blogs are going to interlink, right? They're going to interlink to reinforce content to direct readers to other articles on the same blog, as well as to content that validates their own via external links. So just try to make it look natural is what I'm trying to say. You know, again, guys, I know that was a long-winded answer to say that, but my point is, you know, the old style of PBNs where you go to a content farm and buy a shitty article for $6 and post it on there, and then you link out to your money site, and then you link to Wikipedia or a .gov site or a .edu site, because that's what everybody's told you to do for the last 10 years. You know, those days it's not as effective anymore. And those can be spotted as PBNs from a mile away. Even blindfolded, you can tell it's a PBN, right?
Yeah, I would just add that we need to continue this re-educating our listeners, our members, the people who follow us, to understand that these assets are not PBNs. They're public linking websites. And so it's perfectly okay to do everything that you just said do. Before, it was just one, you would just set up that homepage and you would put a link to the website and the content didn't matter. Well, now the content matters. It has to be relevant and it has to be set up so that it generates traffic. You need traffic there. You need people to visit. You need people to go through it. You need people to link through. When that happens, now that public linking website becomes part of what's called, it's not really a seed site or a seed set yet, but it brings it that much closer so that everything that surrounds your website, that links to your website, is trusted, authoritative, and relevant, which is what you're looking for.
Yep. Totally agree. And we're actually, well, we may be talking more about these kind of stuff, building these types of sites out in the coming months. I know. In the coming months. That's all I can say for now. Andy's up again. He says, affiliate question: when starting to build the first batch of articles for a new website, should we refrain from linking to affiliate offer? I read from other forums and people are saying that Google shuns new websites that have affiliate links. How true is this statement? Thanks. Well, because I'm not a huge affiliate marketer, you know, I assume there's some truth to that. You know, I have no reason to doubt that. The way I look at it is, if you're building a site and it's real thin on content, right, and you've got affiliate links and that stuff, then it's likely that your site won't perform well. It may even be sandboxed or flagged to where it never performs well, because it, you know, through the probationary period that typical new sites typically, go through.
I would
And
apply
yeah,
the common sense rule to this though, like, because I call it total bullshit on this to a point, and I agree 100% with Bradley. If your content sucks and it's, you know, a piece of crap site, but otherwise there's no, you know what I mean? If every link on your website goes to Amazon, or it's an Amazon short link, or it redirects to Amazon, then that's pretty obvious. But at the same time, like real web, again, going back to a real website, they link, they sell shit, they refer people. You know what I mean? Like that's not out of the ordinary. So I totally don't buy that you can't put referral links or affiliate links up there. It's just, again, if it's thin content and all of your links are affiliate links, then guess what? You've got a thin site.
Yeah, and that was my point. You know, like if you have good content, like in-depth articles and such, and you link out to that, I don't buy that for a second that it won't rank well, because I've seen over the years, I've seen, you know, people that have taken a lot of time to develop out a piece of content that is, its entire conversion goal is to get somebody to click an affiliate link, but it's done really well and it ranks like crazy because nobody else in that was willing to put that much effort into it. I've seen that time and time again. So again, I would recommend that if you're going to do it, just make sure that you're providing valuable content, you know, that's relevant and that's providing value and all that kind of stuff. And it, as far as I know, it should work. But like Adam said, if every link on this site is an affiliate or redirect link, then there may be an issue with that too. So
yeah, if I can add real quick to what you were saying, guys, which I totally agree. I think that you should frame this as you're building an asset, right? So you're building an asset, you're building an affiliate website, but at the end of the day, what you're building is a potential community or an audience. So the website is going to be the vehicle for that audience to find you, right? But then again, if you can send, like if you can capture emails right off the bat and flesh out a small follow-up sequence initially, then you can do SEO, of course, but you can also do paid advertising, as Andy, you know, was asking about, and invest in your asset, because at the end of the day, you're building a community around a subject. Like, you know, I see people saying, okay, how can I put together an Amazon affiliate website? And my question would be, why would you want to put together just an Amazon affiliate website? Put together a website around, I don't know, gardening, and then you can sell all sorts of stuff, right? And you will have an audience of people that are interested in that kind of niche. So then you can, you know, scale from there. So that's a more long-term approach. That's why buying a domain that's, I don't know, best gardening tools under $100bucks.com doesn't work, right? You want to build a brand and you want to build, you know, an asset that lasts throughout time.
yeah, long term. Yeah.
I would add one more thing. If your site is quality and it has great content and you know that people are going to go there, see if you can get if you can get AdSense approved on the website, so that it's a Google affiliate, so to speak, right? If that happens, then you're more likely to get another affiliate approved in there, because you can run AdSense and certain affiliates. So you could try and play with that, but first get it AdSense approved. You could even, once you're done getting AdSense approved and you're running ads and everything is fine, you can get rid of AdSense and add another affiliate network, which people do. People will add Bing, their equivalent, which actually has a better payout. And then you can go with whatever it is that you want to go for. So yeah, it's just a matter of thinking outside the box and seeing how you can sneak into Google while using. Everything I do is trying to sneak into Google by using Google and what Google lets me do. If Google lets me do it, then they're more than likely to let me do something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it does, because it works.
Mohammed's up. He's still at it, man. He's Mohammed. I just read through your question, and this is precisely why I got out of dealing with real estate agents. I got out of the realtor marketing because of very specifically what you're dealing with, man. That's exactly what I found. I'm not going to read through the whole question, guys, because you all can read. But Mohammed's basically saying that he's still working on the video email system to generate prospects and leads for his own agency, and he's in the real estate industry. That's who his target market is. And he's been having a lot of trouble with landing clients. And again, this is precisely why I got out of dealing with realtors, because the problem is, even if you can show them that what they're saying, like what you're claiming here is that, like the one guy says that none of his leads come from online, like, and then the other person, which is a lady, is saying that it's all through word of mouth. But you can prove that there is a lot of traffic on those keywords in your area, and that in their area, excuse me. Then my point is, you just said at the end of this this other paragraph, you say, and she acknowledged it, but she still ain't convinced. That's the problem though, Mohammed. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're trying to make 2 sales per prospect right now. The first sale is convincing them that they need you. Then you have to sell them on whatever service it is that you're selling them. So you're doing twice the amount of work, because you're dealing with people that don't understand why online marketing is important. And so you're having to sell them on the idea before you even pitch them on your services. Does that make sense? So you have to make 2 sales. That's why, dude, drop those, man. When you catch that kind of resistance from somebody, like, honestly, I'm not in the convincing business. Like, that's why, I want to talk to people that get it, that understand. And yes, you have to sort through a lot of, sand to find the gems occasionally. I get that. But you ought to have some sort of qualification process in place that eliminates those people that are just disinterested from the get-go. Because you're gonna waste so much mental capital and energy on trying to convince these people, and it's like banging your head against the wall. You won't make it anywhere with them. And even if you do convince them that they need you, and then convince them or make the sale to them for whatever services it is, those people, because they had to be convinced, they always have that skepticism. There's always that doubt that follows them around about whether they made the right decision. And they will be the most pain in the ass clients you ever have. They will contact you for every single slight ranking drop or dip or anything, all that kind of stuff. And so, to be honest with you, man, I wouldn't tell you to just scrap that industry altogether, because I know you've put a lot of work into it. But what I would suggest doing is having some sort of gateway in place that would qualify or disqualify people by checking their engagement level. Unfortunately, you're not in the mastermind right now. I know that you're planning on coming back when you can. And so the content will be there. The training will be there when you do come back. But, I'm telling you this from firsthand experience, because recently, over the last few months, we've been working on various prospecting angles, and had a lot of really good results with getting people to a specific point. But, and I was putting a lot of those prospects into a funnel through an action that they took, but it wasn't qualifying them enough. So I can completely relate to what you're dealing with right now, because we made like over 220 phone calls, cold calls out. Well, they weren't totally cold, because the people were at least exposed to the brand, our brand and our offer. But we were trying to force the sale too quickly. And because of that, we only made 3 sales out of like 220 phone calls. It was absolutely terrible. So I went back to the drawing board, and that's what I'm working on now, is various other prospecting funnels so that we can test or gauge their interest level before they get added into our like ecosystem or our sales funnel, our pipeline. Okay. Does that make sense? And that's what I would recommend that you do, perhaps, is try to figure out a way to judge engagement a little bit more. Like, send them to a landing page instead of having them directly contact you. If you're doing the video email system, for example, send them to a landing page where they have to take some sort of action before you even take notice of them. In other words, send them to a landing page and make them fill out an opt-in form or survey or something, request more information, anything that you can do that makes them take that one additional step, because now at least they've raised their hand and said, yeah, I'm really interested. They don't need to be convinced as much. And if you can automate that, whether it's a white paper, a free report, a video that's behind an opt-in or something like that, that can educate them about what it is that you have to offer before you start contacting them. Because again, if you can pique their interest and they're still interested after seeing what the offer is about, then you don't have to convince them. You don't have to make 2 sales per prospect. You only have to make 1, because they already understand the importance. And that's also one other thing I want to say about that before I get the opinions from the other guys. Is that's another reason why one of the things I like to do is look for prospects that I target that are already spending money, right? That are already spending money on online marketing. Realtors, I know they spend a shit ton of money on business cards with their face on it. you know, real estate signs with their face on it, everything with their face on, billboards with their face on it, shopping carts at the grocery stores with their face on it. You know, that they're such an egotistical bunch. If any real estate agents are in this audience right now, please don't take offense, but you are. And my point is, they spend a lot of money on like traditional marketing stuff, but I found that they are really resistant to online marketing methods. And so, you know, it's a tough sale. And there will be a few that get it, but you have to set up some sort of like automated filtering system so that you're not spinning your wheels, wasting your time dealing with a lot of people that you have to sell twice before you ever make $1. Does that make sense? So what do you guys think?
Go ahead. Well, I've actually worked both niches here in Costa Rica. There's a lot of commercial real estate. There's a lot of luxury real estate. And the problem, like right from the start, is that since these are high ticket items, the real estate agents that are in this niche, they're really arrogant. Mm-hmm. They think that they know everything there is to know about commercial and luxury real estate, and you can't tell them anything.
And marketing.
That they don't know, and they'll even try to tell you how to do your SEO. I've had clients in these niches, and I fired clients in this niche because I couldn't handle it. I can't handle someone telling me what to do. It would be like me going to get operated on and telling the doctor how to do the operation, right? So if you're running into that, if you're running into people that are doing that, get away. If you're running into that much resistance, then you know they already know everything. How can you tell someone who knows everything that they don't know everything? Because they know everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that you put a lot of time and effort into this real estate deal, and you've done a lot. But it's difficult to crack. These people, they know what they know, and it's really difficult getting them to understand that they don't really know what you know.
Yeah. Adam, I heard you trying to chime in.
Yeah, definitely. This is kind of a combination. First of all, full disclosure, haven't worked in this niche, so can't say if this would work, but I think this is a good idea to add on. And Bradley, it basically goes with what you were saying about having a better qualification process or disqualification process. You're trying to get people like this away from you so that the people come to you that you do want. And Chris mentioned this, I think it was in the mastermind newsletter, I forget exactly, but I think it's is it Dean Jackson and the 9-word email? Chris, I don't know if you're still on, but basically engaging people with the goal of getting them to explain themselves to you, giving them something up front as well too, instead of just trying to sell them and convince them. Maybe your outreach gives them some sort of free whatever, that depends on your niche, it, you figure out what that is, and then start asking them questions and let them, reveal what it is they need help with. So you can do that automatically. You can do that one-on-one, but getting to the point where they're talking to you and you aren't having to hunt them down. Because like Bradley and Marco said, like you're dealing with the people who you have to sell, and you don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got to sell somebody twice, man, it's you're doing twice as much work, and they'll never be. They're always going to be a pain in the ass. Again, as I've done it, guys, many, many times, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that it's not worth it because we chase the almighty dollar, and sometimes I don't trust my gut. And when you're dealing with somebody that's difficult to, and you're trying to convince them that they even need online marketing, I mean, what are the chances that even if they do end up hiring you for services, that they're going to be happy? You know what I mean? The point is they're likely going to be unhappy the entire time, and it's just going to be a nightmare to deal with, and it's just not worth the money. Money's not everything, guys. There's other, again, Mohammed, I don't recommend just dropping the niche altogether. I mean, I did, but I'm not telling you to do that. But what I would say is you might want to go back to thinking about how to create some automated systems that can help to funnel some of these people away from you that really are truly disinterested to begin with, so that you're not wasting your time, because that is so discouraging, man, to just, be banging your head against the wall and not making progress. And that's what it sounds like you're doing. So, all right. The second question, he says, I read Marco's article on the Google Dance, and I know I have to make sure clients understand it as well. But when I say amidst a big drop in rankings, I fear I will look like I'm covering for dropped rankings. How can I convey to the message to avoid that? Well, first of all, if that comes up with a potential client or a client that I currently have, and they mention something about rankings, I say, look, I don't work for Google. Google's constantly making shifts in their algorithm. What I do is show, over time, historically, that you're ranking well, and there's obviously going to be fluctuations. But one of the things I would recommend, and I know Mark is going to back me up on this, and Hernan would as well, is not focus on ranking so much. If you can produce leads and traffic, and you can show that, you can quantify it by an increase in phone calls, you can show analytics, you can show search console report, you can show reports from, like, for example, if you're doing call reporting and call analytics, you can show call analytics reporting. You can also show, opt-ins and leads and conversions if you're tracking all of that stuff. And if you're doing all of that, even if the rankings dip a bit, as long as you're still producing additional leads for the business or whatever the conversion goal is for the business, then the rankings are irrelevant. It may be something for them that they want to see. And guys, I'm not, because if your sole source of traffic is rankings, then what I would recommend you do is diversify your traffic sources. Put some PPC in place. Put some social media stuff in place. Put some perhaps direct mail and email marketing in place. Some remarketing, retargeting, right? Put all of those things in place so that you're not 100% reliant on SEO traffic alone. That way, again, even if the rankings dip, you can still provide proof that your marketing is producing results. Again, when it comes to the Google Dance stuff, I always state very clearly, look, I don't guarantee rankings, period. I can show you a portfolio of projects and their historical, the trends that I've been able to set or achieve with the projects that I've worked on. And that's what I expect to do with your project, Mr. Business Owner or Mrs. Business Owner. But, again, I don't work for Google and I can't guarantee that. However, what I can guarantee is an increase in leads, an increase in traffic, an increase in phone calls. So, guys, you want to comment on that?
No, that was perfect.
Okay, yeah, good. I agree.
Okay, Keith is up. What's up, Keith? He says, hey, guys, question on keyword density. Found that using a silo menu on page increases the keyword density by quite a hike. In my case, 6 extra main keywords on page. How do I handle this? Ignore the menu and just get main body keyword density right, or add extra content to take silo menu into account? Appreciate any help on this one. Well, I wouldn't worry about it because, Google weights links depending on where they are within the site structure differently. And menu links, sidebar links, and footer links are weighted less than contextual links. And Google understands that, guys. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Unless your keyword density is extremely high, which it probably isn't, Keith, because I know you're a content producer. You own Super Spun articles. So my guess is that it's probably your keyword density isn't terrible. It may be a little bit beyond what we talk about as rule of thumb type thresholds, but I don't think it's probably nothing to worry about because, again, menu links are counted or weighted differently with less overall authority, in relation to the page than contextual links are. So I really wouldn't worry about it that much. What do you guys say? Okay, good enough. Roxanne's up. So I wouldn't worry about that. By the way, Keith, if you were in SEO Boot Camp, I don't know if you bought Jeffrey's SEO Boot Camp. If you haven't, you should. Because he talks a lot about that kind of stuff in there, and man, he's good. So I would highly recommend that you get that if you're building out any sort of sites. Period. Okay, Roxanne's up. Hi, all. 2 questions, please. Is there a formula for figuring out what to charge a local client for rank and rent videos? I know it has to do with a niche, but is there a formula using number of searches and CPC cost, or recommend a minimum per video? Is ranking popular niche city terms? Second question. Okay. Recommended minimum per video. Is it ranking popular niche city terms? All right. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on this, guys. I don't charge a lot for video SEO. I just don't. I use it as a foot in the door strategy, period. And again, I know I'm going to get some pushback on this. So you can take what I say and throw it out the window. I don't care. I'm just telling you, video SEO, I don't charge a lot for that. I use it. I specifically do a very inexpensive price for video SEO just to develop a relationship at which point I upsell in the full marketing suite, which is typically maps ranking, perhaps website development, content marketing, syndication network, drive stack, press releases, all of that. It just opens up the floodgates of additional services that I can upsell to a potential client. So What I charge for video SEO is incredibly inexpensive. For example, I do a lot of video SEO work for a local video production company. I sell it to them wholesale for $100 per keyword per month. That's it. A lot of you would probably puke at that and say, that's ridiculous. I'm not working for that. Okay, well, don't. I do it, and it works really well. At any given time, we have as many as 35 videos that I'm ranking for this company for $100 per month. So, I mean, yeah, that's good. It's good money, and it's not a lot of work. And so, again, I don't charge a lot for it. Now, that said, there are a lot of people that do make their entire living off of video SEO services alone, and they charge a lot more. So it's really first of all, what will the market bear? And that's going to depend on the industry as well as the actual location, the level of competition, etc. So also, and Marco always does a really good job of explaining this, but figure out what the value of that customer is, right? So whether it's lifetime value or annual value or monthly value, depending on what the customer type is, you figure out what a customer value is to that company, and then figure out what kind of traffic you can generate from that particular video, which may mean that you have to rank a video and track clicks or phone calls. I'm working on some prospecting funnels right now for the prospecting module inside of Mastermind. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm doing results in advanced funnel. That's what I'm doing right now, is working on a results in advanced funnel where I go out and use video SEO, again, front end service. I freaking love it, where we go spam like, 150 keywords, which is like in a radius around a particular central location of a city or whatever. And out of 150 keywords, maybe 20% of them will rank on page 1. So we end up with 30 keywords ranked on page 1. I build a small little funnel, showcase funnel, to show what's ranked, and then go contact these contractors or business owners in that particular industry and say, look, this is what's showing, and it's very inexpensive, right? Like I'm charging next to nothing basically for it to get it done, because it's just about getting the conversation started. So my point is, like, there's a lot of things that you can do to determine what kind of cost that you're going to charge for that kind of stuff. Lifetime value, customer value, how much traffic you can generate. Again, with the funnel that I've got set up right now, I found a service because I was trying to figure out how to track. So besides just showing the rankings, I want to be able to show what kind of traffic can be generated from these videos. So if you just set up your own redirect, use something like Pretty Links, WordPress plugin, to set up a redirect URL that you can embed in the video, right? So in the video description, the first thing in the video description be your own link that you can redirect wherever you want. Why I like Pretty Links is because it will allow you to track link clicks, right? So every time somebody clicks the link, the Pretty Link, it will register as a click, and you can actually get like a click analytics report from that. So you can show clicks to the link within the video description. You can also set up a voicemail box and have a virtual phone number that goes directly to a voicemail box so that you can actually rank in advance and show phone call volume that's just going to voicemail. That's all you need is call analytics. And I actually just set up today, I just found a cool service called evoice.com, which is incredibly inexpensive for even their lowest subscription levels, $12.99 a month, and it gives you 6 different phone numbers, right? 6 different voicemail boxes for $12.99 a month, which is great because you can set up like a results in advance type video, rank it, have phone calls shown via call analytics, have link clicks shown via click analytics, and then you could approach the client or the prospect or whatever and say, look, this is the kind of traffic I can produce. And you have hard data then. Does that make sense? And so if you know what the customer value is, what that lead is worth, then you can charge accordingly. I know that was long-winded. Guys, what do you say?
I think that you make a great point there, Bradley. I mean, as long as you're using that service as a, as a starting point to build a relationship with the folks, I think that's genius. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's not like you're charging, it's not that you're not charging enough. It's just that it's part of your strategy, right? The money maker is probably not the video ranking service or the results in advance. That's not the money maker. That's the icebreaker. You know what I'm saying? So I think that makes a lot of sense. As long as you have that in mind, then you can charge as little as possible so that you can get that ice barrier. And then you're positioning yourself completely differently than anyone else in your competition, right? So you're creating what we like to call a blue ocean strategy for you because you're the only one doing that, So that separates yourself instantly. And I think that's a really good way of starting.
All right, awesome. Recommended minimum per video is, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Second question. Is there a recommended volume or way to tell if I'm overdoing video Powerhouse? Love it, by the way. Roxanne, I highly recommend, like, guys, typically for video stuff that I run through Video Powerhouse, I'll do 50 embeds. I'll do secondary embeds too, like the Web 2 embeds. And that's it. I do 50 embeds dripped out over usually 14 days, but sometimes 21 days. And then I wait. I wait 21 days before I judge the results. And so I just set a calendar reminder. When I go set up a Video Powerhouse project, I go set a calendar reminder for 21 days out. And then I'll go check the results. And I use Pro Rank Tracker to track YouTube videos. So I'll go check Pro Rank Tracker when I get the calendar event or calendar notification. In 3 weeks, I'll go check it and see where's the video ranked. If it's moved, then great. I don't need to do anything else. If it's where I want it to be. If it's not, then I'll go back in and I'll do like another 25 embeds or another 50 embeds. Or I'll buy some views via YouTube, AdWords for video, or I'll do something else, maybe send some backlinks to it or something like that. But my point is, like Video Powerhouse, I usually use I recommended this many times. I still want to get to Scott's question too, guys. I try to do the bare minimum to get it to move, because again, if you come out with guns blazing, like, and you dump everything you have on the video all at once, then what happens if it didn't move enough? And that might be too much too quick. Then you've got nothing left, is my point. And so usually I just do a little bit at a time and try to nudge it along. That way I always have more, ammo left, so to speak, if I'm right, if it needs more. So
also, if I can just add real quick, that's an aged video embed network, right? A map embed network. It's been constantly used over what, the past 2 years or so?
2 years.
I mean, the power in there from just 25, 50 embeds should be enough to let you know whether you're going to need more, whether that's enough, or what else it is that you need to do to get that video going to where you want it to be. But that's a powerful network, man. I mean, we worked on that a lot to get it to where it is right now.
Yeah, we've got thousands of domains in there too. So, all right, Scott's up. This will be the last question, guys. Sorry if we didn't get to the rest of them. I really apologize, guys. Scott, I want to get to this. It's a great question, though. He says, hey, Semantic Mastery dudes, been using Content Kingpin with great success. Thanks again for the course. I hired a curator. However, I've been doing the original material writing. Shame on you, Scott. No, it's all right, man. When you're getting started, I get it. He says, reached a point where I can now hire a writer so I can be totally hands-off. My curator currently places the curated material into client WordPress site, then save post to draft mode. Should my writer add to that, or should I now have all material developed in Notepad, then uploaded when completed? No, it doesn't matter, Scott. If it's saved in draft mode, it's not indexed, so it doesn't matter. That's absolutely fine. What I recommend you do is just, whether you choose to have everything saved the way that you're doing it, or if you want to switch over to something else, like having them all collaborate in, like, what I would recommend is Google Docs, because then it's updated in real time. If anybody makes any changes, everybody sees the changes universally. You don't have to worry about files that are being saved in one location and not in others and all that kind of stuff. So, when you're doing with remote workers, like, Google Drive is my favorite thing in the world. I freaking love it. Not just because of RYS. I love it just because I run my entire business in Google Drive, guys, with all my team members and everything. So to me, it's incredibly important to do that. But whatever you do, Scott, just create a system that will be less hands-on for you, to where it's, and something that can be duplicated, so that as your business expands or grows, as you scale, that you can add more to it, right? You can duplicate that process over and over again. That's really the key, because that's where most people struggle, guys, including myself, is, not having systems in place. And then at some point you start saturating yourself with too much. You got too much work, which is busy work, because you don't have proper systems in place. So build it right from the start. Will save you a shit ton of headache. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, if your current system is working for you, where the curator curates in WordPress, saves it as draft, and now you've got a writer that goes in and injects commentary before the post is published, that's fine. I wouldn't mess with it. Okay. What do you guys say? Anything?
I agree with you, Bradley. The more hands-off it is, the better.
Sounds good. And Bradley, in Slack, we have one more quick curated content one, if you want to take a look at that.
Is that this one here? No, sorry. Excuse me. All right, let me finish. There's another part of Scott's question real quick. He says, are you using curator and a writer for your blog articles, or does your writer do both curation and writing? No, well, see, that's the thing. It depends on where the what type of curating is being done. For my money sites or client sites, I have a writer that I've trained to curate. That makes sense. So the writer really does mostly curating, but they do write. And so I use native English speakers for my blog sites. The hell was that? Did you see how that page just refreshed on its own, guys? That was weird. Are we still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So for my client sites and stuff like that, I use, I've got 3 different curators, one in the States, one in the UK, and one in Africa, South Africa. And they're all really, really good. And so, they curate and write. But for like PBN stuff, I don't have any anymore because I just don't use PBNs anymore. But I had a lot of Philippines VAs that I taught because I wasn't really concerned as much about the content quality. So I could get it done for very, very cheap. And that's because I was doing all curated PBN posts, which is what we just talked about at the beginning of this Hump Day Hangout. So again, I use basically writers that have been trained with Content Kingpin. It's the same training that you got, Scott, is the same training that I give my writers that I want to teach how to curate. And it's funny because the writers that I've taught how to curate, now that's their primary method for blogging for their other clients. So it just goes to show you it's good. All right. All right. The last question is the one that you just posted. With regard to curated content for clients, how do you find useful content when the customer services are narrowly niche specific? Oh yeah, that was Brian's question. I saw that. In my case, floor restoration for natural stone tile floors. Well, Brian, what I always recommend, because I've got a lot of clients that are, like roofers, for example, or HVAC, and it's very, very difficult to find content about roofing that's interesting, right? Or, so we blog about general home improvement stuff, all of it. It doesn't matter. Kitchen remodeling, fence building, landscaping, deck building, I don't care what it is, house painting, whatever you want, just blog about house, home improvement related stuff, because it's still relevant, right? And you can add value to potential, readers or whatever, because you're talking about like all things home improvement. And then obviously there will be from time to time stuff that will be specific to flooring that will really apply, but it's still in that same, they're all, as Adam likes to say, tangent markets, right? So it makes sense to blog about all that stuff. And it gives you, there's no shortage of home improvement content. There might be about specifically floor restoration for natural tile stone tile floors, excuse me. But there's no shortage of content out there for home improvement. Okay. And home remodeling and do it yourself and all that kind of stuff.
That just reminded me too, Bradley. And I just posted the link, Brian, if you're still watching, or for anyone who's interested in this. We had Scott Scanlon of Curation Suite do a webinar with us, and I don't recall the details, but I remember he had some great ideas on how to curate content for really local niche products or services. So I just posted that link. Go check out that webinar. And I just remember specifically he talked about that, and we had like a flashbulb moment of, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah. And lastly, Brian, also curate about local events, any sort of local news. If it's for, well, I don't know if you're talking about a local business or like a national business, but if it's a local business, you can curate about locally relevant content. And what I mean that is like it's relevant to the location. It doesn't have to be about stone tile floors. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for being here.
Just to give Brian just some tips real quick. He can talk about countertops. He can talk about kitchens. He can talk about bathrooms. He doesn't have to talk just about floors, because it'll all relate back to whatever he's doing. So whatever he can relate to it, it always comes back to natural tile or natural stone. I forget what it is that he's doing. Sorry, natural stone tile floors. But you can talk about natural stone tile in other settings, fucking the building facades, whatever. And there's a ton of, now that I just gave you a bunch of different ideas that you can write about. So there you go.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. And this 5-minute extra long Hump Day Hangout. So we'll see everybody next week, I guess. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, guys.
Bye, everyone.